Εξομολογήστε το Κύριο διαγραφός, αλληλούια, ότι στον αιώνα το έλεος αυτού, αλληλούια.
So, with all of this introduction said, ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk about a particular translation that Christians reject and that we say is not the Bible, ladies and gentlemen. It's called the New International Version. And I'm just going to move back towards the fence. So if you want to join me, I'm just going to move back towards the fence. So the New World in Translation of the Bible that is released by the Watchtower organization is a translation of the Bible that we as Christians reject. In other words, we as Christians are telling you that this is not a Bible. This is a propaganda document released by an American religion called the Jehovah's Witnesses, a religion founded in the 1800s. And we Christians reject it because it deliberately abuses the Hebrew and the Greek. It deliberately mistranslates. And I'm going to give you some examples of what I'm talking about. Because not everything that calls itself a Bible is a Bible. So the New World Translation translates Genesis chapter 1 verses 1 and 2 like this. It says this, and I'm going to read from a Christian Bible first so that you can hear what the actual words should be translated as, and then I'm going to give you what the New World Translation gives. So in Genesis chapter 1 verse 1 it says this, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and desolate, and there was darkness upon the surface of the watery deep. And God's active force was moving about over the surface of the waters. That's how the New World Translation reads it. But where the New World Translation reads God's active force, the Hebrew states the Spirit of God was moving over the waters. So do you see how the New World Translation has manipulated its translation? The Hebrew says that the Ruach of Elohim, that the Ruach of Yahweh was over the face of the deep. But the New World Translation states God's active force. Ladies and gentlemen, for example number 2, the Watchtower translation always translates the Spirit of God. Bear with me one second. They often translate the Spirit of God in the Bible as God's active force, even though those words never appear in the Hebrew or in the Greek. In other words, they're making up words and they're putting it in there. Another example, in Acts 8:29, it says, the Spirit of God said to Philip, go up and join the chariot. Well, how can an active force speak to Philip? How can something that is just an energy, an activity of God, be a person that speaks? In Zechariah 12:10, it reads in a Christian Bible this, and I will pour out on the house of David, the inhabitants of Jerusalem, a spirit of grace and supplication. They will look on me, the one they have pierced. But here's how the New World Translation translates it. I will pour out on the house of David and on the inhabitants of Jerusalem the spirit of favor and supplication. They will look to the one whom they pierced. Do you notice the difference? They will look to the one whom they pierced versus they will look on me, the one they have pierced. So in other words, the Hebrew says that God is the one that they will look upon and pierce. In other words, it's prophesying the crucifixion, but the New World Translation hides the fact that God is speaking about himself when they say they will look to the one whom they pierced. Another example, John chapter 1, verse 1. The Bible should be translated, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. But the New World Translation records it like this. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So in other words, they're introducing another God to the verse that the Bible and the original Greek manuscripts don't support. I'll give you another example. In John 14:10, the Bible should be translated, "Do you not believe that I am in the Father and the Father is in me? The words that I say to you I speak on my own initiative, but the Father abiding, he does his works." The New World Translation records it this way, translates it this way. "Do you not believe that I am in union with the Father and the Father is in union with me?" Is that the same as I am in the Father and the Father is in me? No. The New World Translation is deliberately trying to hide the divinity of Christ from the Watchtower movement, from this American religion called Jehovah's Witnesses. They are literally hiding the divinity of Christ. Let me give you another example. In Colossians chapter 1 verses 15 to 17, it should be translated, "He is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of all creation. For by him all things were created, both in the heavens and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or dominions or rulers or authorities. All things are being created through him and for him. He is therefore all things, and in him all things hold together." Now listen to how the New World Translation, that propaganda piece of the Jehovah's Witnesses, translates the same words. "He is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of all creation, because by means of him all other things were created." Do you hear the difference? The Bible should be translated that through him all things were created, but the Jehovah's Witness Bible inserts all other things. In other words, it's trying to imply that Jesus was created. Let me ask you this. Why would you need to insert words in your English translation that are not there in the Greek if your beliefs matched the writings of the writings of the ancient Greek Bible? Why would you need to put in words that the manuscripts don't have unless you're trying to hide something from your followers? It's exactly the same when Muslim translators get hold of their Quran and deliberately insert words in the translation of the Quran that aren't there in the Arabic, because they're trying to hide things from their followers. They're trying to suggest things to their followers. One example would be that the Quran says that the Spirit of Allah blew into the vagina of Mary. But Muslims don't translate the Arabic faithfully. They hide that fact in their translations. They make it suggest that a Spirit of God just blew into Mary, but it doesn't say where. As if it blew into her mouth, or into her ear, or into her belly. They literally lie in their translations. Just like the American cult of Jehovah's Witnesses literally lie, ladies and gentlemen, to their followers. We Christians believe in faithful honesty as a value. And so we value faithful translations of Scripture. And I want to tell you, brothers and sisters, that right now there is a danger facing all of us. There is a danger of non-believers like Dr. Bart Ehrman and people he considers his friends who don't believe in the Christian faith, affecting the translation of the Bible to hide what the Bible teaches. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a custom in Bible translation that the translators should be anonymous, so that all the glory goes to God. And that custom made sense when everyone who was dealing with those translations was a Christian. But we don't live in that world anymore. And so now I invite every translating society, every church that commissions a translation of the Bible, to publish the names and accreditations of anyone who works on a Bible translation, and what books of the Bible they worked on, so that we can know who is telling us what. And if it becomes apparent that they're coming to the Bible with a political agenda, that those people should be barred from working on translation of the Scripture. And so I openly call for the barring of of non-Christians from translating the Scriptures. And you all need to start talking about this, because there is a danger in the future that non-Christians will be influencing the translation of the Bible. Any questions, ladies and gentlemen? I can't see you, by the way. I'm blinded by the light, so if you put your hand up, I can't see. You just have to speak up. Any questions going once? Any questions going twice? Okay, any questions about any aspect of the Christian faith? In that case, guys, I'm done. Anyone who wants to join me for a coffee, feel free to come with me. And for all of you that watch this later, just look for yourself on the video evidence of how much evangelism was wasted today. By Christians.
By whom?
By sectarian Christians. Who love their views on their YouTube channel more than they love the gospel.